Hey everybody, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Happy Super Bowl weekend for all of us who would rather watch our favorite TV shows tomorrow rather than sports ball. But you know, such is life. We're here for the snacks always. You guys, what does the nanny do has been the question that has rocked us through season 16 of Sister Wives. And I think Reddit, the sleuths on Reddit, have uncovered possibly what the nanny does. Walk along this journey with me. I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I went back to see if this was a reply in a thread that was a post about something else. And I forgot to screenshot it. And when I went back, I couldn't find it. If you are the person that left this comment, or if you know the person that left this comment, please let us know so we can give proper credit where credit is due. But I saw this commented, I could not agree more, and I just wanted to expand my thoughts on this. The gist of the comment was that the nanny assists Robyn in keeping her and her kids isolated, compliant, and completely reliant on Kody at all times. And yeah, that is what the nanny does. These past 2 seasons, we have seen Kody gripe endlessly about the disloyalty of his wives and of his kids and the non-compliance, especially of his oldest kids. Kody historically has been he has championed this live and let live mentality, right? Like decriminalize polygamy. If people want to let people live how they see fit as long as they're not hurting anybody. That has been Kody's mantra for years. Now, all of a sudden, we gotta lock shit down. And most of us can actually appreciate the fact that Kody was being so diligent about his COVID protocols, but to what cost? And the cost was his relationship with his kids, his relationships with his wives. Kody's COVID protocols went way beyond what even the CDC guidelines were, and they really unveiled the fractures in the family. It gave him and Robyn an opportunity to just isolate themselves in her McMansion, and it really gave an excuse to not have to interact with the rest of his wives and kids. Like, how often he says his relationship, or his responsibility rather, is to his minor children, but how often does he see Savannah? How often is he seeing Truly? And for how long? And are those like meaningful interactions, or is it like essentially like going to lunch or something that's really inconsequential? Kody decided to be the only person that would travel between households, which ultimately the children were the ones who suffered the most. The wives were already not really interacting with each other. They've lived in Flagstaff for a while by now. Even in Las Vegas, you know, the wives had always had like points of contention at different points in time, and they didn't have to necessarily get together all the time. They had separate homes. That was the beauty of the cul-de-sac. So who suffered from these COVID protocols? It was the kids. The kids, we heard the entire time for the last 2 seasons, wish that they could see their other siblings. Isabel wants to go over to Kody's house to see her siblings. I really don't think she gives a shit about seeing Robyn, no offense, but she wants to see her dad. She wants to see her siblings. They go to Janelle's house so they can get together and see their siblings. And they're like, I mean, we can beat this horse even more to death, but they say that they're being as careful as possible. They're just not going to these Kody levels of extremes. So yeah, it's really sad that the victims of the contention between Kody and the other wives ultimately were the kids. They're the ones that have, for over a year now, who knows how long, have not been able to have real meaningful relationships with their other siblings. unless they're going behind Kody's back and betraying him. And that just sets up this really unfair push-pull. And it's totally heartbreaking to see that the kids are the ones who suffered the most. So many of us have wondered, I mean, I know at least I have really wondered, Robyn is this big champion of polygamy. This entire season, she's like, I didn't sign up for monogamy. Kody's at my house all the time. Like, why can't you guys just get your shit together so Kody can go to your house? Why would she choose to employ a childcare provider as opposed to utilizing the other wives to pitch in and help? We saw her say no thanks, but no thanks to Kody's suggestion of Mary helping out. Why is she saying no? These kids, arguably, objectively, the oldest Brown children are thriving. They're free thinkers. They're independent. They're successful. Why wouldn't you want the wives responsible for those kids to help pitch in with your youngest? That would make sense. You know, being this big champion of polygamy where it's not just all on one woman to do all the household and rearing of the children. Why choose to employ a nanny? And Robyn has had a nanny for a while. This isn't like something that just got put in place because of COVID. She's had a nanny for years. Many of the older Brown kids and Janelle and Christine have fondly recalled the Lehigh house as being a great way to raise kids. Now, of course, there was contention between Mary and Janelle and Christine at different points in time, but ultimately it allowed all the kids to grow up together, and the majority of the recollections of that time was that it was a great way to grow up for them. So it just really boggles the mind why Robyn, which even pre-COVID, would choose a different route, a route that is kind of antithetical to polygamy. Additionally, a lot of us has been wondering, why is Kody on board? You are literally married to 3 other women who could help you out. Why pay for something that you can get for free? Christine was the main maternal figure in these kids' lives, and I think most of us think that she did a pretty damn good job. The bottom line is, and I think the reason why Kody was on board with this is because he resents the free thinkers his children are becoming. None of them want to follow in his footsteps of polygamy. This is a failure for Kody. His kids are looking at how they were raised and saying, we don't want that for our kids and for our families that we're creating. This is an absolute failure for Kody. And since Christine was the primary caregiver, I think she is taking the most resentment from Kody and the most blame for the other kids being so independent and so combative with Kody. Robyn is the only wife that fans Kody's ego. She's the only wife that needs Kody. She makes herself and her kids completely reliant on him. She early on forced her older children to assimilate into the family, in my opinion, before they were probably ready, and call Kody dad when they had a whole ass dad that they were still seeing, still visiting. So this biological dad was still very much a part of their lives. It wasn't so much a blending, like Kody and Robyn did a horrible job of blending the families, of blending Robyn's kids with the other Brown children. Robyn and Kody came in and forced it on her kids and the other kids as well. And we've seen how this has caused Robyn's oldest kids to feel othered, and for Kody's biological children to feel like, oh, you just brought in a new family because you were sick of us. They did it horribly. Essentially, the nanny is towing the company line when it comes to Robyn and Kody. She assists Robyn in keeping her kids isolated from the world and from the rest of the family. In doing this, her adult children, who are around the same age as like Aspen, Hunter, Garrison, They are all within the same age range of these kids. They're suffering arrested development. Dayton, Aurora, and even Brianna are suffering arrested development at this point, as well as the younger kids. They're fully reliant on Kody to guide them, this ensuring total compliance. And Kody, this is what Kody wants. And Robyn is the only wife willing to essentially fuck her children up in order to make Kody happy. I just thought that was a really hot take that I read on Reddit. You guys will have to let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad. You guys take care, have a good one, much love.